Okay, let's unpack this. You've brought us a truly thought-provoking source today.
Hmm.
We're diving into, well, one of the most complex and, frankly, pretty heartbreaking challenges of our time. How we understand and, maybe more importantly, how we combat terrorism.
Absolutely.
So our deep dive today is into excerpts from Interrealism, Combating Terrorism Through Connectedness and Consciousness.
That's the one.
And our mission, really, is clear. We're going to explore this, well, radical new philosophical lens, interrealism,
Yeah.
trying to understand why the traditional fight against terrorism seems to be getting harder, maybe, and what a profoundly different approach might actually look like.
It's a big ask.
It is. It's about shifting our perspective, finding surprising connections and trying to see the bigger interconnected picture.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how interrealism isn't just offering, new tactics. It's proposing a fundamental reevaluation of reality itself.
Wow.
Yeah, it argues that everything is interconnected. And that forces us, really, to reconsider these deeply held assumptions, especially when we look at global issues as pervasive and, frankly, devastating as terrorism.
Right.
So this isn't just presented as a political or military challenge. It's framed as a challenge to our very way of thinking.
That's a powerful way to frame it. I mean, if it's challenging our fundamental assumptions, then we really need to dig in.
We do.
So, okay, from interrealism's perspective, why is it becoming increasingly difficult to combat terrorism? We've sifted through these sources, and the answers are, like you said, less about conventional wisdom and more about a profound shift in understanding.
Indeed. The core argument here is that the problem isn't simply a lack of better weapons or, even more sophisticated intelligence.
Okay.
Interrealism posits that the difficulty stems from our current, largely traditional approach being, the source calls it insufficient and inadequate for the complex reality it's trying to describe.
Insufficient and inadequate.
Yeah, and it uses a really powerful metaphor to illustrate this. Terrorism isn't seen as an isolated tumor that can just be surgically removed from the body politic.
Right. Cut it out and it's gone.
Exactly. Instead, interrealism views it as a symptom of a deep systemic imbalance in the entire organism of reality.
That immediately reframes everything, doesn't it?
It does.
Takes it from being just some external enemy to essentially an internal symptom of a larger illness.
Precisely.
And one of the biggest reasons for this difficulty, according to interrealism, is what it calls the illusion of separation and us against them. I mean, we're so conditioned to this dualistic thinking, this idea of distinct opposing sides. But in a world as interconnected as ours, does that approach even still hold up?
Well, it's precisely that dualistic thinking that interrealism challenges head-on. Traditional approaches. They're almost always built on this us versus them narrative. We instinctively create a boundary, right? Labeling us as good, civilized, righteous, and them as evil, barbaric, utterly separate.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
But, this perspective completely ignores interrealism's foundational principle, that everything is connected. If we trace the threads back, it means that events unfolding on one side of the world, or even traumas from generations past, they aren't isolated.
So they ripple outwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source gives such vivid examples. Economic inequality on one end of the planet, the exploitation of natural resources, cultural and religious arrogance, even the lingering trauma from wars waged by past generations.
Wow.
These aren't just separate issues floating around. The source says they are all threads that weave together into a rope that someone will eventually use to make a bomb.
That's a chilling image.
It is. And trying to fight only those who detonate the bomb, while ignoring this intricate underlying network of causes, it's depicted like mopping the floor while the ceiling is still leaking.
Right, you're just dealing with the immediate mess, not the source.
Precisely. And this network, in our modern world, it's more global and complex than ever before, which inherently makes the fight seem, harder and harder to win with the old methods.
That analogy is so vivid, you can almost see us there with our mops, endlessly trying to clean up the spill while the problem originates way higher up.
Yeah.
It really makes you pause and think, are we just patching bullet holes when the whole foundation is cracked?
That's the question it raises.
So, okay, the illusion of separation is one critical piece. What's another significant factor interrealism highlights that complicates the struggle?
Well, building on that, the source points out something quite interesting, that the very tools we often rely on for protection are also wielded by those we seek to counter.
Ah.
And this brings us to the second reason, technology as a mirror. It's not just a double-edged sword. Interrealism views it as a profound reflection of humanity itself.
Okay, here's where it gets really thought-provoking. Because we tend to see technology as, I don't know, neutral, or maybe even the solution.
We often do.
But the source suggests it's far more complex than that.
It does. The source explains that technology itself is neither inherently good nor bad. It's an amplifier of human intent.
An amplifier.
Yeah, whether we're talking about AI, global surveillance systems, social media networks, these tools, they mirror and multiply what is inside us, both love and desire for connection, as well as fear and hatred.
So it just makes us more of what we already are.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
And what this means is that the struggle is shifting significantly. It's no longer predominantly a physical battle on the ground.
Right.
It's moving into the digital, psychological, and informational realms. And there, the boundaries between friend and foe, truth and deception, they're even more blurred, incredibly difficult to navigate. Our intentions, both constructive and destructive, are simply magnified through these technological lenses.
So it's not just about the weapons or the tactics, but the underlying intentions that technology merely magnifies. That's a crucial distinction.
It is.
But beyond our perception of separation and technology's mere effect, does the source delve into any deeper, perhaps more existential reasons why this struggle is becoming so difficult?
Absolutely. It really goes there. The source delves into what it calls a crisis of meaning and spiritual vacuum.
Okay.
Terrorism, from this interrealistic viewpoint, is often seen as an extreme manifestation of a deeper collective existential crisis and loss of meaning.
Wow.
Think about it. When traditional structures that historically provide meaning, like, religion, community, even family, when they begin to fail or are maybe suppressed by the relentless march of globalization, a vacuum is created.
An emptiness.
Yes. And into this vacuum, extremist ideologies can step in. They offer a distorted but powerful sense of purpose, identity, and belonging.
Even if it's destructive.
Exactly. They provide simple, albeit destructive, answers to what are incredibly complex, often agonizing questions about life and identity.
I see.
Interrealism stands in stark contrast to this, asserting that true meaning isn't born of destruction. It's born of creation and connection. And the source argues that until humanity actively works to create meaning that embraces both unity and individual uniqueness amidst chaos, this deep-seated vacuum will continue to attract those who offer false meaning through destructive acts.
It's a profound thought that the emptiness within society can be filled by such destructive forces. It really makes you realize the scale of the challenge isn't just external, but deeply internal to the human experience. Now, if that's why the struggle is getting harder, let's pivot. What does interrealism propose as the way out? The source makes it clear these aren't simple fixes, right? It's a profound paradigm shift.
Indeed. Not easy answers. The fundamental shift interrealism proposes is this. External chaos is a reflection of the inner turmoil of individuals and the collective consciousness.
Okay, say that again. External chaos reflects inner turmoil.
Exactly. That's a foundational premise. It suggests that if we truly want to change the world outside, we must first look inward, to the very source of our thoughts and emotions.
That's a pretty radical idea for tackling something like terrorism, placing such emphasis on our internal states.
It is radical, yes.
The source emphasizes the inner field of the human being as the epicenter of change. That puts a lot of responsibility on us individually, doesn't it? For some, that might feel, well, overwhelming.
It does, and that's precisely the point interrealism makes. It asserts that every single thought of fear, hatred, or judgment that we harbor toward the other, that feeling of separation we talked about, it contributes to a collective field of negativity. And it is this very field that feeds violence and division in the world.
So our thoughts aren't just private.
Not in this view. Conversely, every act of inner awareness, every moment of compassion, every instance of courage to seek understanding, it strengthens the field of interconnectedness, promoting peace and cooperation.
Okay.
And this leads to a powerful statement in the source. Fighting terrorism, therefore, also, above all, means fighting terrorism in our own hearts, our tendency to demonize, separate, and act out of fear.
Wow. Fighting terrorism in our own hearts.
Yeah. It's a call to self-reflection before external action, suggesting that our individual internal state has a direct impact on the collective.
That's a challenging but ultimately maybe empowering idea. It means we all have a role to play right here in our own minds, in our own hearts.
Exactly.
It suggests that the path to peace starts with personal transformation, and this leads directly to the next point the source highlights. love and responsibility as the ultimate strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine the source isn't talking about a naive, sort of sentimental concept of love here, is it?
Absolutely not. No, love in this context is not a sentimental feeling, but an active force of seeing oneself in the other and the other in oneself.
Okay, an active force.
Yes, it's about recognizing our shared humanity, our inherent connection, even with those we might consider enemies.
That's hard.
It is hard. But from an interrealistic point of view, this isn't just idealistic. It's presented as the most realistic attitude because it genuinely corresponds to the underlying truth of interconnectedness.
So it's realistic because reality is interconnected.
That's the argument. And this means taking active responsibility for the ripple effects of our choices. The source offers tangible examples, like when I buy a product whose production supports inequality, I participate in a system that can lead to frustration.
Right. Connecting our actions to consequences.
Or when I am interested in the causes of radicalization, not just condemning its consequences, I am working on the root of the problem. It calls for a profound awareness of our choices and their global consequences.
So it's a very active, conscious form of love and accountability, a commitment to understanding the full chain of cause and effect.
Yes.
It's interesting that the source also talks about pain as a teacher. It's not shying away from the devastating difficulty of the current global situation.
Far from it. No, the current crisis of terrorism, as devastating as it is framed by Interrealism as a painful but essential teacher for humanity.
A teacher. How so?
Oh, well, this profound pain isn't just something to be endured. It's meant to compel us. It forces us to ask deep, fundamental questions. Where are we headed as a species? What is worth protecting? What kind of world do we really want?
Big questions.
Huge questions. This pain, the source argues, should force us to wake up from the illusion of separateness and realize that the safety of one is inseparable from the safety of all.
Wow. The safety of one is inseparable from the safety of all.
That's the core realization. Meaning, in this view is born in the present moment when we decide how to respond to this immense challenge, hopefully with courage and a drive for connection, rather than with, vengeance and fear.
It's a call to evolution almost, using this crisis as a catalyst for a deeper, more unified humanity.
That's a good way to put it.
So, okay, this all sounds like a grand philosophical framework, but what does this mean for you listening? The source stresses that Interrealism isn't just an abstract theory. It is a living practice, something that needs to be embodied in daily life.
Exactly. This isn't about waiting for grand political gestures alone. It's fundamentally about how we operate in our daily lives. The source offers concrete applications.
Okay, like what?
First, educate yourself with understanding. So instead of simply consuming news that demonizes the other side, consciously try to understand the historical, economic, and cultural context of any conflict. Seek out diverse perspectives.
Go deeper than the headlines.
Yes. When you commit to this, you will inevitably start to see the connections, the shared humanity beneath it all.
That's a powerful shift in how we approach media consumption right there. What else can we actively do?
Second, transform your language. Move away from the divisive us and them rhetoric that just reinforces separation.
Watch our words.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Instead, use language that reflects our common humanity. Phrases like people in this situation or communities affected by violence. The source is very clear on this. Words create reality.
Right.
The language we use shapes our perceptions, and those perceptions then shape our actions in, that collective field we talked about.
That makes so much sense. Our words can either build walls or build bridges.
Precisely. Third, act locally, think globally. Promote inclusion and dialogue within your own community, especially between different cultures and religions.
Even small things matter.
Absolutely. Every single bridge built at the local level, no matter how small it seems, strengthens that global field of connection that Interrealism describes. These local interactions are like microcosms of the global reality.
Okay. Act locally. And the last one.
And finally, practice inner hygiene. Be aware of your own thoughts and emotions.
Inner hygiene. Like mental hygiene.
Sort of, yeah. When you feel fear or anger rise within you, don't suppress it. Instead, acknowledge it, maybe understand its source, and then consciously work to transform those feelings.
Oh.
Well, this could be through practices like meditation, prayer, or even simply a heartfelt conversation with someone you trust. The goal is to transmute those difficult emotions into loving action, even if it's just a kind word to a stranger or an internal wish for peace.
That's a beautiful way to bring it full circle, back to the individual choices and awareness.
Mm-mm.
Ultimately, the source suggests that the fight against terrorism from the perspective of interrealism is therefore a fight for consciousness.
Yes.
It's a battle not against an external enemy per se, but for the awareness of our shared reality and our interconnectedness.
This deep dive is truly a profound call, I think, to wake up from what the source describes as the dream of separation.
Yeah.
And to actively, consciously create a reality that genuinely reflects the true, interconnected essence of life. It challenges every one of us to look at the world differently, to question our knee-jerk reactions, and to understand that our individual choices are woven into the larger tapestry of global peace.
And the most powerful insight, maybe, this transformation begins with each of us, right now.
Right here.
It leaves us with a truly provocative question, I think, for you listening. If our inner world truly mirrors the outer, what personal acts of connection, understanding, or maybe compassion can you initiate today to contribute to a more interconnected, peaceful world?